This will be relatively quick. So every year when the Chinese government gets together to talk about the domestic agenda, I will always get clients asking me, so what do you think? What does it mean? If you look all over social media and the think tanks and you name it in the United States, people put out all these big reports about what's happening and what does it mean, and they read very carefully the Chinese. Oh, they said this last year and they didn't say it this year. Okay, for me it was very simple. The whole idea is to maintain the status quo. What has worked is going to continue to be implemented. Whatever policies were working, they're going to be continued. They're going to be maybe focused on a little bit more, so things like technology. But the whole domestic agenda was truly about following the path for what's called resiliency. China and the leadership in Beijing, it is very clear, are seeking to be able to create a country that is as independent from any external forces. And what I mean by that is I'm not talking about external forces in the way of some sort of adversary, but it's, okay, where are we at risk as a national economy? I mentioned earlier things like energy. How do we make sure that we can create more energy independent? How can we create more technology independent? We need our own chips. And everything that we saw, not just last year in 2025, but in 2024, it was very obvious to me that going into 2026, it was going to be more of the same. Because what would you really want to do that was going to make things more, why would you want to change what was working? There is one, however, I think important development that has not been picked up upon. And it does very much tie into the idea of resiliency for the domestic economy. And that is the consumer, the household. For the last 20 years, if you looked at the Chinese economy, there have been 4 drivers of growth: exports, infrastructure, which includes property, the government spending, mostly local government spending, and then household spending, consumption. The first 3 have been the primary drivers for most of that time. The household, especially over the last several years, has been very reticent to do much in the way of spending. They're concerned about the future, concerned about the economy, things like that. If you look at the concept of resiliency, though, from the standpoint as I see it from Beijing leadership, right now, infrastructure is a risk because there's too much spending on infrastructure. That can't be the sole growth engine. The central government can't be the one that spends all the money. And exports right now, which is genuinely the key driver of Chinese growth, there's a lot of global resistance because China has become so dominant in both manufacturing and exports. The Chinese household is where future growth is going to come from. And I genuinely believe, and there was a lot of talk about this during the 2 sessions, I genuinely believe from call it a geopolitical even standpoint, that you are going to start seeing more and more policies that will be coming out that will be directly centered on promoting the household. We want to make sure that things that you're concerned about, we want to help you with. Right now, the central government's focused a lot on people having babies. So how can we provide assistance for daycare or for going to school when your children are young, or whatever the case might be. And I think you're going to start seeing a lot more policies along those lines, vouchers to help you with whatever you need to purchase, whatever the case might be. China has an enormous amount of savings. The amount of money sitting in the bank account by Chinese households, it's so large, I can't even remember the number. Getting that money circulating into the economy, I think, is really the focus. But overall, the 2 sessions itself, it's exactly as it was, for the most part, last year. Focus on those areas that were moving in the right direction for the economy. Continue to add more to those areas that are working, technology being the main one, fourth generation industrial, next gen technologies, what have you. There's also the issue of making sure that limited debt is being applied. China, unlike most other countries, has been doing the Beijing has been working very aggressively to try and deleverage the economy. It's a very, very challenging balancing act. But overall, the two sessions, for all of the conversations out there today, it's just more of the same. Continue along the path that has been working and continue to do so.